All right. So, can you tell us a little bit about the way you manage risk in your organization in the co-op?
Yeah, our risk management model has been developed from scratch as well because we needed to have something which would be able to specifically reduce requirements on the collaterals from our members in the financing, but at the same time to keep this very high probability of success, so to manage risks properly. And maybe one example why this collateralization problem is very much present, especially in Europe and in Croatia, because according to the standard banking model, acceptable collaterals are very limited. You have like land, property, some pieces of machinery, cash, money, so those are acceptable collaterals. And then if you see, for example, that there is a company, a software company, which is making millions of dollars of sales of their computer software product all around the world. From the perspective of bank, it is totally ineligible for financing because maybe it exists for, I don't know, less than 2 years. It has only rented apartment and few computers where developers are sitting and has no property at all. So it's completely intangible. And for a bank, it is not the right collateral and you're not going to get financed. While on the other side, maybe you have a bakery across the street which has a small building and has an industrial oven and has I don't know, and selling croissants for 50 cents. Suddenly it's really something which is a real tangible collateral for a bank, and it's more creditworthy than the other company. And in order to cope with that, we actually designed our risk management in a way that it has several innovative aspects. One is that we have methodology which is developed in collaboration with several other organizations, among which is also the Chamber of Commerce of Venice region in Italy and several ethical banks, and so one broader group, which is able to collateralize the non-tangible assets. So the value of long-term contracts, the value of trustfulness in a business, like high customer ratings, value of unique knowledge or patents that you have, the value of long-term social relations, where if you have long-term suppliers and long-term customers, it also means something. So all those kind of things could be collateralized and could be used into banking process, totally compliant with all regulatory Basel standards, and can reduce the demands and requirements on the classical collateral, which is very, very important, especially for smaller companies. The other component of it is the proactive risk management, in which we are not so much interested in the past, in your business history, but are more looking how to predict what is going to happen to your business in the future. By in the analysis process, where we are analyzing your project, we are trying to identify key performance indicators, so some key parameters that are most crucial in the success of your business plan. And we have integrated a reporting framework in which we require you as an entrepreneur, as a company, as a cooperative that has got some funding from us, to report, if needed, depending on type of business, daily, weekly or monthly, about the real-time situation with your indicators, with your parameters. And based on that, and based on your cash flow that we know, because we are your bank, you do transaction through us, we do simulations of your future revenues and your future financial cash flows and financial situation. So we will know upfront if over some time, like 2, 3, 4 months or maybe more, you would have some probability to go into red, to not be able to meet your obligations. and based on which parameters these negative scenarios are based, so that we can ask cooperative how and try to support you with business advice, with I don't know, provision of some extra services, trying to reduce your costs by finding a cheaper supplier, or I don't know, something like that, to return business back to normal, to positive, before actually the inability to pay happens. And that is something which is completely unheard of in the banking process, even though it is a standard process of proactive risk mitigation in almost all other industries, in food industry, pharmaceutical industry, car industry, plane industry. You always need to upfront anticipate what is going to happen and have mitigation measures upfront to eliminate or limit or restrict those risks. So we just adopted this kind of methodology and have adjusted it for banking services, and we have really full confidence that it will bring risk management in banking, and especially applicable to cooperative banks that have ability to have such close relationships with customers that it would enable them to acquire all the data to manage risks really much better than any average financial institution.
Thank you.